Laurel, one of the incredible students in the Fearful Dog Fearless Framework community, wrote to me the other day, and I wanted to share what she said. She said, I feel like a whole new world has opened up to me regarding living with, loving, and teaching and learning with my sweet Henry. Every podcast is exactly what I need to hear. Overall, I think that I'm understanding Henry more. The scorecard is favoring on my side. He is beginning to respond better to my leadership and my direction in our home, and even improving and checking in on leash too. I'm using spatial pressure. I'm not talking as much. She puts in comments, I've become a snapper with a smiley face because if you know, you know. And I don't have to tug on the leash to get him to move on walks, using far less treats. All very positive. And I wanted to share Laurel's comments because when I read it, I just had this moment of that's what it comes down to, right? That's what this is all about. I think for a lot of us, we focus so much on the training and the doing, and we don't take the time to sit back and look at the understanding. And how the understanding of our dogs leads to this deeper connection, this place where things just start to get a little bit easier, right? And I love the fact that she said she felt like a whole new world has opened up to her, because that's exactly what it felt like to me when I went on the journey. I felt like I was invited into this different world, and all the other noise. And there's so much noise. All the other noise, the arguing, the bickering, the use this tool, don't use that tool, use treats, don't use treats, all of the bargy, blah, 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 that's going on. All of that kind of washes away. And what's left is you and the beautiful soul of a dog that is in front of you, that beautiful spirit. And now you're starting to get it. And the dog just gets it. And life with your dog becomes easier. And if I were to think about, it's hard for me to say what would be the number one thing that is going to help you to understand this, to get you on this journey as well, to help you and your dog move forward. I would have to say that the one thing that makes the difference in everything with our dogs is leadership. And it's the one thing that so many people are telling you not to listen to. It's the thing out there that I've actually heard people say. I've heard dog trainers and quote unquote influencers say, if you hear somebody say the word leadership, you should run for the hills. And it makes me so sad, because when you get it, you get it. So today, I'm not sugarcoating this. I'm going to give you everything that you need to know about this number one tool that you can start today. I'm going to help you not only define it, I'm going to help you feel great about the word leadership. And it is going to change everything for you. Are you ready for this one? I'm so excited for this one. Let's get into it. Are you worried that your fearful dog may hurt someone or something else? Do you have to prepare just to take a walk around the block? Hi, I'm Tracy, and I too had that dog. The one that you could only walk at nighttime when no one else was around. And I felt ashamed, and oh gosh, I wish that people could just see the dog that I know and love. I wanted the confidence to be able to walk my dog and not have to worry about who or what was around the corner. And I kept telling myself that if I just keep doing obedience drills and distracting with treats, that things would get better. Until I found the secret. Fear is not something that you can train out of a dog. In this podcast, you will find tips to help build your dog's confidence naturally, communication and understanding to foster that trust, and how to address those fear-based behaviors effectively so that you can enjoy a stress-free life with your dog. So if you're ready, stop chopping those chicken wieners, grab your notebook, and let's get to it. Well, hello there, my dog loving friend. Welcome to Beyond Obedience. It's Tracy. I'm so glad that you are here. Happy November. Can you believe it's November already? And shout out. I have to shout out. I have to shout it. I have to shout this out. I'm actually still smiling about it. The number of you that reached out to me to tell me that your dogs rocked it over Halloween was amazing. Thank you so much for reaching out. Some people messaged me, some of my students in the Fearful Dog community messaged me. I had people message me in Facebook, and I even had a few emails. So thank you very much. I love hearing it. And I'll tell you why. I think what I loved about it is everybody's experience was different, but the key component between every single one of you amazing, amazing dog lovers is that the core foundation of what you did is that you listened to your dog. You listened to your dog. Some of you were like, I was really watching him and he seemed to be okay with everything. So I let him go and explore. I let him do this. And I'm like, good for you. Or she was a little bit uncomfortable. So I got her, like she went around the corner. She seemed comfortable in her bed. Like so many of you adapted your expectations. You took the time to listen. Some of you, you were like, we just turned off the lights. The dogs were already freaked out. We turned off the lights. We went downstairs. And that's cool. That is 100% cool. It is all about listening to your dog. And so many of you honored your dogs in that moment. And I couldn't be more thrilled. And thank you for sharing that with me. If you have a Halloween story and you want to share it with me, please do. I was thrilled. I was absolutely thrilled. But today I wanted to actually sort of continue on with this. I will be honest with you. This is something that's really been on my heart to talk about. This is something that has been, I think this episode and the next episode are something that have been on my heart to talk about. And when I got Laurel's message of, about how things are going, she was one of the first in the group of the first students to go through the Fearful Dog Fearless Framework. And she sent me that message about how things are just starting to turn. And when I read it, I was like, it was everything to me. Just the fact that she mentioned that like a whole new world was starting to open up. And that's really what it is that I talk about. And I think that I'm going to be 100. If you don't know this side of my story, I almost quit dog training a while ago. And it was not because of the dogs and it wasn't because of the people, but it was because of the industry. It was because of the absolute ridiculousness and the fighting that goes on inside the dog training industry. And I I have gone for a long time. I'm a middle child. This is welcome to Tracy's therapy couch right now. Tell me about your parents. I'm a middle child, and I will say I think my entire life I've always felt like the person that was always trying to calm the waters. Can't we all just get along? Can't we all just get along? And I feel like that's the same in dog training. I felt like I've always been like, we're supposed to all be on the same side. Like, why are we all fighting? And I've done a lot of things in the years, but like prior to me almost giving up, I had a seminar that I ran with two other dog trainers, and it was called Trainers United Summit. And it was, the theme of it was cooperation over competition. This idea that, we can all learn from each other and we all have value and all of this stuff. And I ran that for 2 years. I had a dog trainer mastermind where I brought other dog trainers on to talk. Even my program Relationship Remedy, I bring other experts in because I have this overarching sense that we all have value to bring to the table. And yet everywhere you go, the dog trainers are fighting. There's like, us versus them, purely positive balance training, and everybody's arguing. And it became like so toxic that I was like, I don't want to be a part of it anymore. And I almost quit. And and I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't, because otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today. But as a result of that, there is still some residual um, trepidation for me in the words that I choose and the things that I want to say. And I'm really hoping to sort of find my strength and step outside of that, because of the things that I've said in the past where people have come after me about it. And I think if you've been listening to the podcast from the very beginning episode, you probably heard me talk about leadership. Then I try to skirt around, like I skirt around the thing. I don't want to say the word leadership. I'm like, leadership's guidance. I'm trying to like pad it. But at the end of the day, um, I know to, I can only speak like, my truth and the things that I know. And what I know to be true is that you have to be a leader to your dog. And I don't I don't understand why people are so skittish of the word. For some, I guess leadership means dominance and antiquated dog training theories. And to me, leadership has nothing to do with anything to do with dog training, other than it's a word that symbolizes that we are going to be the best person that we can to help guide another species through a human experience. And I'm so over it, I guess. I even stumbled on that. I'm getting over it. I'm getting better. I'm getting better because you know what? I'm not serving you if I don't tell you my truth. And the truth of the matter is that, well, I have gone on a huge journey, and I have been in your shoes. I have also been living with groups of dogs for a long time with very little conflict. And I have to equate that to not my training methodology, because I don't really train my dogs. And a lot of people that know me can attest to that. Right? But it has to do with how I show up for my dogs, how I lead my dogs through a human experience, how I have dedicated a large portion of my learning journey on understanding dog, not understanding training. Honestly, test me on it. If you test me on training theories, I would probably fail. I'm like, okay, well, I know it's a quadrant. There's positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, negative like I would do okay, but I'm not great at it. And whenever dog trainers start arguing about training stuff, I'm like, I don't know. This is the real me right here. But what I can tell you is that I know for 100% certainty that no matter what you subscribe to, this is the reality of it, my friend. No matter what you subscribe to, whether or not you decided that purely positive is the way, or balanced training is the way, or whatever the heck equal opportunity is the way, if you do not have a leadership type quality to you, if you do not show up into the world as a leader to your dog, you are going to struggle. That's what I know to be true. That's the only thing that I can say that has been true for me through all of these years, is that I show up in a certain way for my dogs. And it's different from the way my husband shows up. It's different from the way my children show up. It's different from the way that others show up, which is why my dogs defer to me. It's why my dogs follow me. It's why, and I'm not the nicest, I'm not the one that gives up all the treats. I'm not this, the one that they know who to go to if they want to be, the treats. They know who to go to if they want to get on the bed and no one's going to correct. They know how to play the system. But when push comes to shove, when I walk away, when I walk out of the room, the dogs follow me. And that's just the truth of it. And so I don't want to pussyfoot around that anymore. I don't want to pussyfoot around that, because I feel like I'm doing you a disservice. So as Laurel mentioned in her email to me, she said that leadership was on her side, that it was favoring her side now. Because if you're a student of mine, If you're in the fearful dog, if you're in relationship remedy, you know that I do talk about this. I don't shy away from this in my student community. It's just my public facing, my the social media and all of those things. I will kind of be like humming and hawing about it, but once you get into the community, I'm like, here's the bottom line. Yeah, this is the thing. You need to do this. You need to think about this. And if you're not thinking about this, you're going to struggle. You're always going to struggle, right? So today I am breaking that. Today in this episode, I'm breaking that. And we're going to talk a lot about leadership today. So the very first thing that I want to talk about is, of course, this idea that leadership is villainized in the dog training world. I do believe it has to do with the fact that for whatever reason, certain people in this camp are going to tell you that leadership is synonymous with punishment, antiquated dog training methodologies like dominance theory or alpha roles and all of those things. And I'm like, I don't know why would anyone think that is what we're talking about? Like, I've mentioned it before in passing that I think it must have to do with, maybe people's own personal feelings and opinions of what leadership means to them. So I want to change that for you today. And I want you to actually determine your leadership style, because you get to determine that. I have my own, and I'm going to share that with you today, but you get to decide your leadership style. You get to decide what is valuable to you. And we're going to do that today with a value list. Okay. So what are values? Our values are the things that we hold close to us in our core. They're part of who we are. Like it's something that becomes who we are. You can tell I'm just talking from my heart because it's going all over the place here. But your values are part of who you are, and it's how you show up in the world. And having a value list or taking the time to figure out your value list for your dog is a great exercise. And so I'll share with you a little bit of my own, because there's a lot of good value words that I think of when I think of my relationship with my dogs and how I want to show up for them. Things like the word aligned. I love the word aligned as a value because I believe that there is something to be said about being aligned with your dog. And it kind of goes with the obedience part of it, but it's the idea that, obedience is teaching them to understand you, but how much effort am I putting into understanding the dog, right? If I want to be aligned with them and I want them to be aligned with me, there has to be that mutual understanding. And to me, that's what aligned means. Calm is one I try to do. I try to do that. I'm not going to lie. I've been struggling with calm the last few days. Definitely confidence. I think confidence is a great value of a leader, right? I need to come into this confidently. And confidence certainly plays a part, especially if you have a fearful dog and you're trying to come up with how am I going to show up to be the person that my dog needs me to be when they're having a fearful episode. It means that I have to be confident. It means that I have to be confident in knowing what to do in all of those scenarios. Consistent. You have to be consistent. We know that. I mean, consistency is important in training, but it's also important in how we show up in the world. I need to be consistent. I put down here communication. I am the studier of communication, not just for dogs, but communication and public speaking is my other passion. So communication is very, very important to me. And again, communication is more about how we listen than how we speak to our dogs, right? Communication runs both ways. It's speaking and listening, but I believe for dogs, it's more about the listening and less about the speaking, right? And then when we are speaking, we're speaking with our body language, energy, intent. We're not necessarily speaking with our words, but so communication is a big one. I put down dependable. I want to be dependable. I want my dogs to know that I've got their back and that they can depend on me, right? Encouraging. This was a word that came up for me because I want to be my dog's cheerleader, especially fearful dogs. I want to be the one that cheers you on. I want to be there for you when you have those wins. And I want to be your biggest fan, I put down here fair. Okay. For me, fair, and I've even subdivided fair. Fair to me means yes and no. I believe in my communication and in my leadership with my dogs. I believe in yes and no. I don't believe in purely positive. I'm sorry if you are that. I don't. I believe that's a fairy tale. And I also believe I'm doing a dog a disservice. It's way harder for dogs to figure out the world if they don't have no, right? They need to know what is right and what is wrong. That is just part of life. So I believe being fair means that I'm going to tell you yes and no, right? And that no isn't a bad thing. No doesn't have to mean anything other than, nope, that's not the right thing. And we move on. And this one in my list, I put in all capitals. I put fun. Fun. I want to be fun. I want my dogs to think that I'm fun, but fun to a dog, right? Like I want to be the goofy one that's out there playing with them, finding the sticks and climbing over trees. Like I want to be the fun one. I want to be the one that dogs are like, man, I love hanging out with her. She's so much fun, right? I put also in capitals in my list, I put guidance because as I've mentioned, I believe leadership is guidance. And I truly, truly believe this. I don't believe that it's just something that isn't you should do. I believe it is your duty as someone who brought in a different species and immersed them into Humansville. It's your duty to guide them through that experience. I am so adamant about that one. So I put guidance also in capitals in my list. I put down health. That's the vet tech in me that's coming out. I put down health as one of my values as being a good leader. And that just, I understand, from my vet tech days, the importance of good health and how health does affect behavior. And I'm always sort of cautious about that when it comes to, if I see behavior changes, I'm going to be looking at health as well, And so again, that's a little bit of vet tech in me. Predictable. Predictable is another word that I put down. That is incredibly important, I think, for all dogs, but extra, extra important if you've got a fearful dog. Predictability and a pattern of predictability. That's how they survive. Patience. I put this with calm. I try. Oh, I try. If I can give you like a little insight of what's going on for us right now, and my patience is not great, and I know that. Like okay, so Nike needs to be spayed. Now I don't this also is a controversial topic. I leave my dogs intact for maybe longer than others because I believe in hormones. I believe in hormones more than I did before I became perimenopausal. But now that I'm a perimenopausal woman, boy, do I know about hormones. So much about hormones and the importance of hormones. But I have always sort of in the back of my mind questioned, again, I was a vet tech. I graduated in 96. And back then it was like, I told everybody, you got to have your dog spayed and neutered by 6 months. I've since changed that opinion, and only because I know the importance of hormones, especially for growth and development, hormones for behavior. They're a thing. And I think I get why we do it. Don't get me wrong. And don't come after me especially if you're in rescue. Rescues always come after me, but like, don't promote not spay and neutering your dog. Don't come after me. Standing my ground. The bottom line is hormones are important. That's the bottom line. Hormones are important. I'm just going to leave it at that. So anyway, getting back to my patients, right now, Nike needs to be spayed, and she's in heat, and I have intact males. And intact males around in heat females are just dopey. Just dopey. They're just dopey. And the whining and the whining and the whining and the whining and the anxiety makes me anxious. And so my patience is, not good. So although it is on my value list for leadership, I do believe in it. I'm just struggling with it right now, but 100% you will. That's what I'm saying. It's good to know what you want to be a leader. You're always going to be working on it. Okay. I'm not a perfect leader. I know that. And that's been tested this last little while. This will be her last heat cycle. We are planning on getting her neutered. She's, going to be 2 in January. So she's going to be spayed. I just, yeah. The whining. I mean, anyway. All right. Let's get through this. I have a few more. So another one, big one for me is respect. And respect means that not only do I strive to have my dogs respect me, right? But I like to, I strive to respect the dog as well. And here's the difference in my mindset shift when it came to respect, because I think a lot of people almost have this, especially when we're talking about leadership and respect your leader. We have this, you must abide by me. And that's not how I look at it. You see, I look at respect as, how can I show up and be the person my dogs need to be so they naturally respect me? That's different, right? Like, that's different. I wrote down respect, and I'm like, I always want to I respect the dogs. Okay. Like, I work really hard to respect the dogs. I respect the bejesus out of dogs. I love, like, the working breeds. I actually get, like, almost shivers and and goosebumps when I see working dogs work. Like, I respect dogs, like, to a next level respect. But I also want mutual respect, but I don't do it in a way of, you need to respect me by obeying me. It's not that at all. It's literally like, I want my dogs to respect me. How do I show up to be respected? Different, right? It's different. And then the last one I have here, and there's probably more, and sometimes I change them, but the last one I have here on my list is teamwork, right? And we're going to talk about this on Thursday's episode. I'm going to do an episode on relationships and defining your relationship. But for me, teamwork is something, is a value. It's a core value of mine, because I want us to be a team where I'm not doing this to you. I'm not doing that. I'm not even doing this for it. We're doing this together, right? So the idea of team and teamwork is really, really important to me. And so that's just some of them. And now I'm gonna turn it to you. I'm gonna turn it to you, my dog loving friend. What's your value list? What's on your value list when it comes to your leadership style? Maybe take some time today and just kind of jot it down. Like, what are you thinking? What comes up for you when you think about, like, how you want to show up for your dog? What are some of the words, the value words that you want to learn? Let me see. I think I had a list here. I had some other ones. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Because mine might not be the same as yours. Here's some value words that you might want to consider. Adventure is a value word. Balance, belonging. Oh, I like some of these. Comfort. Oh, I should have put comfort. That would have been a good one. Connection, consistency, cooperation, dependable, development. Maybe. Hey, let's put this out there too. Maybe your list might differ as your dog grows up. Maybe you have to change some of them, because development would be a good value for, the puppy to adolescent stage. Like, you want to be a part of that development. You want to nurture a healthy development. That's a good one. Ease. Oh, you just want to have ease. That's nice. Fair. I think I already said that. Family. Hear that a lot. That could be part of your value, right? Your dog is part of your family. Happiness, harmony, home. Oh, I like these. Humor. Humor. If you have a boxer, you should have some, or a husky, you need to have a good sense of humor. That's all I want to say. Inclusion. Oh, I love that one. Like a life of inclusion. Involvement, kindness, leadership, learning, love, loyalty, partnership. Oh, I like that one as well. That one would have been good. Yeah, I like that. Oh, see, I like some of these. I might have to go over my own value list again. Protection. That's a nice one. Reassurance, security, safety, strength, structure, support, trust, understanding, uplifting, wellness. You get it. You know what? If you want more types of value words, you can Google it. But There's some that you can work with. And that's what I'm going to leave for you today. I want to leave that with you. What's your value list and your leadership style? Like how do you want to show up in the world for your dog? And that's your leadership style. Right. So no matter what somebody tells you about, oh gosh, you don't have to be a leader to your dog. I believe that you do. Even for those of you that are like, no, that's my dog's my family, or even for those of you that think that you're their fur mom or it's your fur baby, it's still leadership, right? I'm a mom to humans, and I would say I'm a pretty good leader of this family as well, right? Like you're still a leader. You got to be a leader. I'm going to stop pussyfooting around that term. I'm just going to embrace it. This one went on long. Thank you for letting me share a little bit what that was on my heart. It was really on my heart. It was really on my heart to talk about today. And I think more than ever, it's on my heart because one of the things that I know to be true is that the dog training industry as an industry is failing you. That's what I know. We're failing. We're failing you and we're failing your dogs. And I don't like it. I don't want to be a part of it anymore. And so if you're tired of it, I encourage you to come on over and hang out with me in my community. And I encourage it because over here, we're not doing it anymore. We're not doing it anymore. We're not subscribing to it. There's so much fighting. And as Laurel has figured out, when you quiet all that noise and you just listen to the dog and you start to learn from the dog, a whole new world opens up for you. And I want that for you too, my friends. So if you're thinking enough is enough, I don't want to listen to it anymore, keep on listening to this podcast, obviously. Come over and hang out with me on Facebook in our free Facebook community, Living Beyond Obedience. That's a great place to hang out. Hang out with me there. Make sure you're my pen pal. You're on the list so that we can stay connected that way. And if you want to go even deeper, if you want to have that really solid community of dog lovers who've taken that next step, consider coming over into the Fearful Dog Fearless Framework community. It is the place to be. It's where I like to be. It's where I'm hanging out a lot of the time. So you can do that by going to beyondobedience.ca/fearless, beyondobedience.ca/fearless. I will say, just as a little hint, there is some stuff coming up in November with that program. There's some stuff coming up. So if you want to just kind of hang out and wait for a little bit, I'm just saying, is there something coming in November? Yes, there is. A little bit of a discount, a little bit of a deal. Yes, there is. Surprise little thing. Absolutely, there is happening this month. So hang out maybe. I'm just going to put that out there. All right. I think that's it for me. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to share it with a friend. And if you have a chance, leave a review on Spotify, on Apple. Leave me a 5-star written review. It really does help push the podcast out to more and more people. And as always, my fellow leaders, get out there today and be the person that your dog thinks you are, because your dog thinks that you're amazing, and so do I. Have a great couple days, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is meant for entertainment and education purposes only and should never replace hands-on professional training. If you're struggling with your dog, please be sure to reach out to a professional in your area. Okay, I think that's it. Bye for now.